senior manager, one thing they want to build that integrity in the team.
I think I'll go back to what MSD is very famous. What he says repeated. He says focus on the process. Don't worry about the destination. Don't worry about the end result or the out. Just focus on the process. I might sound philosophical, but I think it's very important at job also. The model being the best model or giving most accurate results, it only happen when you have followed the right process. Sometimes, in spite of that, if the data is not good or could be any challenge, it's just that the model is not good. What is important is are you stuck to the right process or not? So, as a team, I would generally this is the message that I would give to my team. Don't worry if you build the best model, but did you put in the right effort to get there?
Welcome to Data Science Dialogues, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of data science and analytics, going beyond the lines of code to explore the crucial business aspects that drive innovation and decision making. I'm your host, ST, and each episode we will be joined by industry experts, thought leaders, and pioneers in the field of data science and analytics.
Welcome to the podcast. Today, we're with Mr. Sairam Sundararaman, Senior Manager at Boston Consulting Group. His expertise covers data-driven decision-making, predictive modeling, big data, data sciences, insight generation, scaling, automation, and business development. Let's explore data with Mr. Sundararaman.
Sai, Amber, welcome to the show. So thank you so much for making the time.
Thanks, Amirdeep. Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you. Really looking forward to the session. Yeah.
Great. Sai, so one, I have been looking through your profile. So one primary question that came to my mind is, ECE engineer to lead analyst now, and then a lead analyst manager. How this thing, this journey happened for you? Yes, curious.
Yeah, so I stumbled upon this journey. So I did not choose this journey, to be really honest. I did my EC, as you said, out of from SRM University. Sat for campus, the first company that visited the campus. Got through all the rounds. The rounds were a bit different. I mean, the campus rounds, the selection process different from the rest of the companies. Even then there was obviously a quant round, then there was a video synthesis round, there was a group discussion round, and then finally there was an interview round. And they, as I said, they were the first company to visit our campus, and they gave a offer letter almost 1 year later. So I joined on July 16, 2015, and I got the offer letter on July 26th, 2014. Right, so 1 year in advance nearly they gave out the offer letter. I didn't know anything about analytics, right? I did not even, to be really honest, know what they do. What is this company? I just sat because they had come for the campus placements, and that was the first company. Got through it. I had three. The first 2 years were very tough. Tough is an understatement, but yeah, I struggled a lot. But then I learned a lot during my, more than the technical stuff. I would also say the way you need to define a problem, you need to structure a problem, and बहुत सही सीख लिया मैंने कि how to save the day. Right, results कुछ है नहीं, but something like there's always something that you can always show to the clients or the team, etc. So that's a very important quality that I learned there. Working as a team, amazing people. I mean, Amber is one of them, but amazing people, very brilliant minds, young, energetic folks. And then from there, I joined Accenture. I was there for a year, and then post that, I joined BCG. BCG is a company that I always wanted to join. One of my friends was working there, so he referred me. Again, the interview process was good. I sailed through it. Got joined BCG around 4 years back. Now been with BCG for around 4.5 years. Thoroughly enjoying my time here also. So what started as a I mean, something I didn't choose, but definitely no regrets. I mean, I absolutely I've enjoyed my time in this field and hope to spend the rest of my career here.
Yeah, right. I mean, I hear it from many people nowadays that, they primarily did not, plan to become an analyst or, become a data scientist, but they ended up and they're enjoying it pretty much. And yeah.
Because you should remember that in 2015, right, analytics was still a buzzword, but it was not data science, analytics, AI, ML, etc. It was not that common even then. Definitely picking up right now. I would say it is very, I mean, very common or very prevalent, but not that much in 2015. So If someone told you in 2015 that they knew about analytics and they chose that career, then that means that guy has really done good groundwork.
Got it. Yeah.
Great. Sai, now you are a senior manager in BCG, right? But we all know that everyone starts their journey with hands-on. So what do you
Yeah.
like more, telling people what to do, or getting your own hands dirty? Because I know that you enjoy people in telling them what you do, how you do. So tell me honestly.
I enjoy it. It's not like telling people. I enjoy solving problems with people, trying out stuff, solving it together as a team, brainstorming. That is something I really like. Even back then, when I was an analyst and I had to do a lot of hands-on stuff, I'm talking way back. I always loved that brainstorming. That's a culture that we picked up in Music Sigma also, right? Where you sit down, you talk about a problem, whiteboard it or blackboard it or whatever, right? And then try and break it down and then come up with solutions. You go back and perform analysis or do the analysis. The results are not good, so you come back again, think of a plan B, etc. That's something I actually like. I'm getting to do that a lot more here in my current role as senior manager. Not as a senior manager, as you progress, it will happen. You will work more with the team, and your role more would be then to give some direction, steer the team in a particular way, etc. So I like that more than sitting and joining data sets or applying group by filter join, etc. I'm done with that, bro. I don't want to do that anymore.
I can understand why you're saying that you're going to, why you're thinking of BCG where you are going to end your career. You're not interested in doing group by and also it's going to be a bit difficult right now in
No,
the
even if I
industry
join,
because
no, I mean, even
in
if
the
I join,
industry
no, I'm not going to join any company that is expecting me to do group buy and join. Yeah,
is happy for you.
Sai, so, you've been telling, I'm a little curious that, how is BCG as a consulting company different for you, okay, as compared to other companies where you have already worked? I mean, the
yeah,
work that you are doing there or, the people that you're working with, it could be anything, but how is it, more exciting and different for you?
yeah. No, that's a very good question. I find a lot of similarity between what I did, what I do in BCG right now. So definitely, me shape my career and create or build that foundation for me here in BCG. And I say they are very similar because of two things. Though it was a pure play analytics company, there was a lot of focus on driving business goals, coming up with those recommendations that the business can use. And so there was some amount of strategy, though not to the level that is there in BCG, but definitely some sort of strategy to whatever analytics that you do. BCG you can consider. I mean, it's one of the topmost consulting firms, right? So strategy, I mean, the strategy, digital transformation, etc., are the core of any BCG projects, right? So transformation is, I think, the word that is very strongly associated with BCG. So any of the projects that you do, it is going to have massive impact. What I saw in my earlier companies is the consumption of analytics by those companies was not to a very large extent. I mean, a lot of folks were doing a lot of cool stuff, but whether the clients used it or not, the consumption part was always a big question mark. In BCG, because there's a lot of focus on strategy, and any analysis that you do is condensed or overlaid by a layer of strategic direction. So the clients are a lot more receptive, and they consume the analytics that we do very easily. So in terms of impact BCG projects create, I mean, those are really way ahead of most of the other firms I've been part of.
Yeah, Saisu, that's a great point there. Okay, being in a consulting company, it helps you to see how people and what other companies are primarily doing for whom you are consulting, let's say, right? And I would really love to understand that in today's scenario of, let's say, India,
Yeah.
how much receptive are companies towards this data science and analytics, or at least in which direction are companies primarily going?
So it has definitely increased a lot in the last 5 to 6 years. I mean, earlier we were setting up data lakes. We were helping companies capture the data. We were helping companies structure the database. Or what I'm talking about is the upstream kind of activities, right? Where you ensure that the data actually flows into the organization. They are actually capturing the data. Nowadays, most of the projects that we're doing is not that, it's more downstream. So most of the companies have their data centers, have their analytics team. So and they are more into how do I use analytics to take my business to the next level. Largely in the US and mostly in the West is what I have seen, that most of the companies have adopted a lot of analytics into their daily work streams, into the daily business process. But in India also, I see a lot of companies, especially the companies that I work with, my organization works with, a lot of IG firms, industrial good firms, right? Steel, cement conglomerates. A lot of retail companies also have started using analytics. Maybe some of the most common use cases in retail would be pricing, promotion effectiveness, demand forecasting. And if I take example of IG, something like process parameter optimization, etc. Right? Those, I see that these companies in India have started adopting analytics, and I think again it's only the start. Soumya, right? It's gonna blow up very soon.
Correct. So, Sai, with new technologies emerging, right? We have seen Gen AI. It has taken like when within an year, it has taken all the industry by storm. Now, Google has come up with more one of their AI, which is Gemini. We have many more models.
Yeah.
OpenAI has just launched a model which is text to video, and again, it has taken the internet by storm. What do you
Did you did,
think?
did you try that
Sorry?
platform? Did you try that platform?
No, no, OpenAI has not made that model public right now. So it's still in the
Because it's
testing phase where they're putting the regulations, the text
yeah,
to video. But again, once it will be out, kind of videos that they have shown, it's really like mind blowing. It seems like
yeah, yeah,
someone with such high definition cameras has shooted them, right?
yeah,
How
yeah,
do you
yeah.
think that our jobs will be safe in future? If AI can do this, then AI can do this as well.
But yeah, yeah, that has always happened, right? Some sort of a revolution or has always happened. There was the IT revolution. Right now, what we are seeing is more digital revolution. But my opinion on this is also the same as what industry leaders are saying. Some jobs will be replaced, but then this is also going to create a lot of jobs. For example, I was just browsing through some job profiles, the latest job profiles from some link the other day, and I see that there are jobs for prompt engineering also. So there's a guy who is just going to sit and refine the prompts for the models, right? That's a job that was basically not existing 6 months before. So that is just one small aspect of Gen AI and everything. So what I'm again saying is probably what everyone believes is a lot of jobs will be replaced, but it is going to open up a lot of jobs we don't even have an idea. But I also feel that yeah, if you don't upskill yourself, you will be left behind. I mean, the world is moving at a very fast pace. The earlier you accept that and upskill yourself, I think life will get easier for you.
I think one of the most interesting conversation I think we had in a previous podcast was with Saurabh, right? Was he's leading the Gen AI initiative in Mercedes. So he was saying that we have to look at AI as as an application that we can use in our day-to-day life to
Yeah,
do much more efficient work at a much more pace as compared to looking
yeah,
at it as it's going to replace us. So this is really, I think that's going to be the key factor, that we need to understand how to leverage AI to do much
yeah.
more efficient work at a much more pace. Then I think will be replaceable. If we are not able to learn that, then there is obviously something that we have to look after.
Yeah, so
Oh,
Saurabh,
yeah,
mentioned a very important point back then is, there are three sets of people involved in Gen AI, right? Some people who are actually inventing it, some people who are fine-tuning it and using it up to some extent, and then there are the other set of people who are actually, leveraging it, using it for making their own applications and stuff, right? So,
yeah,
there are this invention people, and then there is this application people, and the application gets you or fetches you most money most of the times, right? And
yeah,
Sai, I was curious to know that throughout your tenure, if you can just cite an example that you had to invent or innovate something out of blue moon, right? From nowhere, that you had to think something of, and you had to pitch because maybe the problem statement that came to you, there is no predefined solution or any references that had occurred in the past.
So I wouldn't say it is entirely novel, but one such solution that immediately comes to my mind is what I did way back in 2017. We built a customer lifetime model, and that model was pretty complex. So you can think of it as there is a customer who signs a contract to get electricity and gas. This is the US setup, right? So here we don't have a setup like that. You don't sign contracts; you just get monthly bills from your utility or your electricity board. But in the US, you need to sign contract. So you sign 12 months contract or 24-month contract. And what we were forecasting was a customer lifetime value. The very open-ended question that the client posted to us was, what would be the customer lifetime value of customers who are there right now? And based on that, they wanted to take some strategic decisions on whether to provide more higher end services or to provide more customized product solutions, etc., to the customer base. The catch here is, I mean, as I said, customer lifetime value, a lot of companies, and there's a lot of material on customer lifetime value in a non-contractual setup. In a contractual setup, we were literally the first ones in the entire organization to do. So we really did not have any solution that were already developed that we could take inspiration from. So it was entirely on the spot thinking and on the spot development. So there were a lot of components to this whole model. There was one model that actually predicts whether a customer is going to renew at the end of the contract or not, because that is a very key term in the customer lifetime value. So if you're predicting what the lifetime value would be for next 36 years, you should know whether the customer is going to be with me for the next 36 years or not. Sorry, 36 months, my bad. So you should know whether the customer is going to be with me for the next 36 months or not. Then there is in contraction also. A customer could sign a contract, but he could just choose to leave whenever the customer wants. So that's the in contraction. So there's a second model. And then there is another model called as default model, which is if a customer is not happy with a certain, with not happy with the experience, he could choose to be on the default plan, which is for 1 month he could pay more, not sign or not be legally bound by a contract, and get the services. So that, and then he can choose to go back to a normal contract. So you see, there are three models now, just to identify customer lifetime value. And then when we build the models, what we saw is there are multiple paths a customer could take. A customer could be on a 12-month long contract, he could move to a default plan, then he could go back to a 6-month long contract, and then he could churn, etc. So we had to overlay this particular model results with another layer of simulation, right? That's where we ran the Monte Carlo simulation that just runs 1,000 iterations and tries to identify what is the most expected path the customer is likely to take, and then based on that we develop the customer lifetime value. So there's a lot of technical challenges to building out this solution, and as I said, there was no team that had done it before, so we had to literally invent a lot of things on the go, develop a lot of things on the go. It was easily the most challenging project that I have done so far. But yeah, I think that is something. The learning was also massive there.
Yeah. So, Sai, being as a senior manager, what do you think is the most challenging part when you're leading your team as a senior manager? Because there can be setbacks as well, right? I'll just give you an example. There can be setbacks when you're building the solution. Maybe stakeholder is not happy or something can happen.
Yeah,
And your team has literally put your heart and soul in building the solution, spent so
yeah,
many hours. So, what are the different challenges that you think, or how senior
yeah.
manager,
So
one thing that should focus upon to build that integrity in the team?
yeah, I think I'll go back to what MSD is very famous for. What he says repeatedly, he says focus on the process. Don't worry about the destination. Don't worry about the end result or the outcome. Just focus on the process. So that is something I think. Yeah, I might sound philosophical, but I think it's very important at job also. The model being the best model or giving the best most accurate results, it only happen when you have followed the right process. Sometimes, in spite of that, if the data is not good or it could be any challenge, it's just that the model is not good or the output is not good. So you should not, as a team, even get disheartened by that. What is important is you are you stuck to the right process or not. So as a team, I would generally, this is the message that I would give to my team also, which is don't worry if you're built or if you're not built the best model, but did you put in the right effort to get there? That is what matters. At the end of the day, if you have done that, then yeah, I'll be the happiest lead or the manager of that team. That is one thing. So yeah, so don't get disheartened is my message. If the results don't come out well, again, as I said, the process is definitely more important than the outcome.
Right side. So, I follow some of your posts on LinkedIn. Okay. First question I would like to ask is, in which domain do you primarily find yourself most suitable? When you are consulting as an analyst.
So I have done very recently. I've done a lot of projects on retail, Soumya. But I like to solve a problem more than being associated with the particular domain. But if I were to choose one, I would choose retail, CPG. Those are the two domains I have largely been associated with in the last few months. But as I said, I try to really define a problem, solve the problem, irrespective of the domain or the industry. I know that it plays a huge role in the problem definition, but somewhere I feel if you quickly grasp what is needed and if you are able to deliver the solution to the problem, if you break it down well enough, then I think that is something I really look to do, irrespective of the domain. But yeah, retail is largely the one that I've been working.
Right. One important terminology over here, that's the problem definition, right? I'll go a little
Yeah,
technical over here. What it takes to define the problem properly when you are subjected to so many questions from maybe your seniors who are there, maybe the clients. Okay, so what takes
yeah.
to define the problem statement at its best?
So the one word answer to that would be first principles thinking. Again, I'll go back to what was taught to us, right? The first principle thinking is really the backbone of any problem solving, if you ask me. Going with a fresh mindset, not having any bias. So let's take an example, right? This is one of the problems I recently solved for a sporting body in Australia, right? They wanted to understand what is causing a dip in their viewership or attendance. First principle thinking just states that you don't know what is the reason. You're going to study about everything. You're going to study about what are all the reasons that could be causing this dip in the viewership or attendance. First principle is nothing but you don't have any bias. You are not already you haven't conditioned yourself to believe that it could be because of the ticket price rises, or it could be because just because the popularity of the game has gone down, no one has any more time to watch the matches, etc. Because when you start doing that, you're not really defining the problem the right way, and you're focusing on a very small or narrow part of the problem. So I think what is really needed is trying to analyze the problem from as many angles as possible. One of the things could be the ticket prices. One of the things could be just about the scheduling of the games. One of the things could be the availability of the players who are playing the game. One thing could be the marketing for the game that was done, how well they popularized it. One of the things could be just the fan engagement is poor, etc. If I use a first principles thinking and I just say, right, okay, there is a problem, how do I analyze this across multiple dimensions? What I'm doing is I'm really opening up the problem and also opening up myself to what the different solutions could be. And that's I feel definitely the backbone or must need quality for you to clearly define a problem. It could be any industry, any domain, any problem statement. Even if someone has spent, I would say, 10 years solving retail problems, any new problem that comes to them, they should apply this principle thinking and try and break down this problem from this angle, because that will really help you solve not just the one solution that you're trying to solve here, say for example forecast the driver analysis of that we're solving for the sporting body, but it will also open up your eyes to a lot of other problems that are all interlinked to each other.
Great. Sai, I know since we have worked together, I
Yeah,
know that you were very much interested in sports analytics,
yeah.
right? Sports and analytics related to it. Any future plans of starting, let's say, a bootstrap startup in sports analytics that can help, you can say, the young folks in India? Because there have been so many startups, right? If you see on Shark Tank, also so many new companies are coming in this space where, with minimum technology, they are helping sports player in understanding. Let's say if it's let's take an example of cricket, like how's their run up and all these things. So any plans, any future plans in this space?
Amber, I'm telling you, I would honestly leave everything I have to do this, because I'm actually very passionate about this, because that's largely my only interest also.
Correct.
Like, yeah, right, like following sports. I've been doing that for years now, and now that
Hmm.
I've stumbled upon analytics also, and I do that for a living, somewhere if I'm able to marry these two, sports and analytics, I think that would be the dream job. If I don't know honestly, and I don't think I'll start up something. But if such an opportunity arises, then that is something I'll definitely be interested in. I mean, interested in is again, I'm just it's an understatement. I would obviously want to try my hands on that. That's something I've been trying to pick up in my current organization, BCG also. It's except that not a lot of companies still use analytics. Not a lot of sports companies still use a whole lot of analytics in the way they work or in the way they operate. So that industry hasn't really blown up here in BCG, but that is something I would definitely want to do.
I know you are very passionate whenever you talk about sports industry and the analytics and all. So I know that. Hopefully someday it will happen
Yeah,
soon.
Amber, it reminds
yeah,
me of
yeah,
that, mishap of the camera company that you cited an example in the previous part,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Thinking,
The digital camera.
yeah. So Amber, would you tell or should I?
Yeah, you can go on, Soumya.
Okay,
Go on.
so Sai, there has been a company who claimed that you don't need men to handle cameras in football games, let's say, who follow the football and show all the angles of it. So they claimed that we will have an automated camera installed in the stadium. Now
okay.
they must have trained it on all the football images that are there to follow the football everywhere it goes. Fortunately, I don't know, but the referee came out to be bald, right? So all the time the camera kept on following the referee instead of the ball, and that was a disaster.
No one was looking at the no one was looking at the footage intermittently. Is it? They waited for the entire game to finish before they looked
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the
The
Exactly.
match.
money in media rights they lost after the game is huge because people on the TV was can only look at the head of the referee. There's no ball, players, nothing is there because the camera mistook face of referee because it was ball as the ball as a football ball. So this
They are
is
not.
something that is
I don't think
so
we are.
unexpected.
Yeah, I don't think we are ready yet for unmanned automatic camera and all.
Yeah, right now, maybe not, but maybe in the future we will be, I think. Because right
Definitely.
now, so many data is being collected. So in the future, we'll have so much data that we can handle these extreme cases as well. It's again, right, I have like one airline, again, machine learning has its cons as well right now. So there was, I remember one incident where a person, let's say he was traveling from Delhi to Bangalore and his luggage went from Delhi to Kolkata. So he said,
Hmm.
thank you and the name of the airline for such a
Yeah.
good journey. I'm in Bangalore, but my
Yeah,
luggage is roaming in Kolkata. So there was
as far
again a
as
bot, and the bot tweeted, "Thank you so much for your positive tweet. We are
as far
here to make sure for such a pleasant experience for the customer." And then it took internet by storm. Like the
yeah,
person
yeah,
sitting behind that Twitter is gone. He has lost his job, but actually it was the bot.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So,
I
these
know.
inherent biases come in, right? Whenever you are training a model, but you don't know, there might be there's some data point or variable which is causing this biasness, right? So, have you ever experienced such cases where you might not be aware, but the model has learned by itself and it is getting biased to some extent due to some variable that is present over there? And let's say, how should someone deal about it?
So, yeah, I think very relevant question in today's age. When you're using traditional AML models, right? For example, logistic, or even to an extent random forest, you understand and you know why a certain prediction is being made by the model, right? Especially if it's more regression models, linear logistic, you basically get the equation and you can understand why the model is predicting certain way. But in today's age where there is Gen AI, I think, I mean, Amber is a lot more qualified, and maybe you also saw me right about talking about Gen AI, but you would have come across the term hallucination. What it does is the model learns or picks up stuff and generates output that is not really in line with what you're expecting. It could be because the prompt was not fed the right way, or it could be because the Gen AI model just lost the context in between and started giving incorrect answers, or even in sometimes even inconsistent answers. So again, that's why I think a lot of focus should also be on don't just not just consuming the results directly, but just scrutinizing the results with your own sense of what could be right or what could be wrong, or double checking the facts also. It becomes a lot more important there. And especially, we were working on a Gen AI project recently to generate new marketing content, right? We were just feeding in some keywords, and the model helped us generate marketing content for a pharma client. So there it became very important that whatever content the model spits out, we scrutinize it, we double check the facts and figures mentioned there before we actually go ahead and publish it. So especially in today's age, as I said, where you're not really sure about why the model is generating something, it becomes all the more important to go through the outputs from the model.
Correct, Sai. And I would like to add 2 points. One thing that Soumyadeep said is something known as fairness, right? So fairness is pretty
Yeah.
important to understand whether the model is fair or not. I'll give you an example. When I was in IM, I was working upon a case study where the idea was to identify whether classify humans,
Yeah.
let's say, as doctors or as nurses. Now, the model was performing very, very well, but there was no fairness because what model was doing, when the model got to know that if a person is, let's say, a lady, it was
Hmm.
classifying it as a nurse, not based upon the kind of an attire or other characteristics, but just based upon gender, it was able to classify as nurse or as a doctor. Now, this is
Yeah.
something which is not fair because this cannot, this is a bias, you can say. But
Yeah.
these things model picks up. So that's why fairness is very, very important. And
Yeah.
what Sai said, right, about Gen AI, I was, reading about Gen AI and I had a discussion. I think one of the major challenges in Gen AI is how you are going to understand whether your Gen AI model, the output of model is
Yeah.
worthiness, right? Because it's very subject. One model output, let's say same model output, 15 people are consuming. Now, how
Yeah.
you are going to understand the model worthiness? Because every person has their different expectation. In
Yeah.
traditional ML, we have KPIs where we can say how accurate we are, but in Gen
Yeah.
AI, we don't.
Yeah.
So model worthiness is a huge, huge challenge even now.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Oh,
if we
100%.
talk about model worthiness, Gen AI primarily is so far unable to come up with one single metric or two metrics, right? That will tell me that this is actually fair and worthy. Okay, and there is no data to validate
Yeah.
as well. Okay, you might say that this answer is correct for me. Some other person might say that this is not something that I wanted, and that is why retrieval augmented generation framework came in recently. And yeah, so retrieval augmented generation also came about using another large language model to fetch the required material and then passing on to the a better large language model to articulate it. So it is a little dicey even today.
So let's take this conversation right away from the team dynamics on how should we approach or what are the learnings. So in data science, we all know that there are many, many funny stories. There are some stories where I have been a part with you as well, where you were, planning the pranks on the team. So would you like to share any one of the instance? Because it's
Yeah. I
very
mean,
important to have those pranks. It keeps, the momentum going, the spirit going. So yeah.
so I'll tell you before I get to that part, right? I think if you ask me five best moments of my professional life or from my career, I would pick five moments where I had a lot of fun with folks around me, right? So a large part of whatever I have done in this whatever, right? 9 years, rather. Oh, yeah, I'm getting old, bro. Okay, whatever I have done in these 9 years, I would, at the end of the day, it is, yeah, the analysis, the code that you write is very important. But how many lives you've touched in a positive way? What sort of an impact you have had around people? What sort of memories were you able to create with those people? To me, that is the most important thing, right? Whether you have had a successful life or not, yeah, it's good. But whether you have had a contented life, at least in terms of the times that you've spent with people, that is of utmost importance. So I have been lucky enough to have quite a few moments. As in BCG right now. So, Amber, I think, yeah. Why don't you start fill in what we did with
I'll be like, why you said my name for
नाम ले लिया ब्रो नहीं लेना तब भी नहीं लिया तो सरनेम बता देंगे सर.
So yeah, it's a very funny story. So we were working with a client, US client, and there was a holiday, and he didn't knew first of all that the client is on holiday, and Sai was leading, working with him. So Sai told that we have a meeting with the stakeholder. Please give me some questions. I need 10 to 15 questions for the next telling mood. He's like, okay, 9 o'clock we'll go out. Let's go have a beer and all. So Sai is like, bro, what should I do? This guy is not, even listening to me and all. So there's one more guy. We'll have a prank call where one of they are in we hire folks from US, so they come to India for the training. So we have our friends, and one of the folk who had the similar accent, and obviously can't understand the difference between two American folks because the accent is same.
Just one thing, okay. Before we get to the story, I think a little bit pretext on who is. So he is that typical Punjabi guy, okay. A lot of attitude, like a lot of attitude. Inside, he's like, and if you really know him, you will know that he is a very innocent, soft-spoken guy. But from outside, if you don't know him, he is like that arrogant Punjabi guy, a lot of attitude, etc. So the whole incident became all the more funny.
So now there's been a call. Client is coming. A stakeholder is joining the call. Building that kind of, leading that kind of an engagement. So we said, what kind of work is this? This is not gonna help, and we have a meeting day after tomorrow. What we are going to show, it's going to look so bad. If this is going to be the work
The tone
quality,
was
then
very
we have to think of a decision of engagement with music and all. We in 15 minutes, he was like that he's gone. He has successfully closed the engagement with one of the client who was successfully closed.
that is also there, right? So one of the leading engagements then, and it was supposed to grow manifolds, right? In the org became this that is going to close down for. So it became a huge controversy. He thought it'll become a huge controversy, and it's all on him. He didn't deliver the results properly, etc., etc. But then, yeah, it got very
You
serious.
must have seen him after the call. He was
He
all
started,
red, all red. Like
yeah,
we asked him, let's go for a dinner, and he's looking at us like, how you can even, think of having a dinner right now when
yeah,
things are going down the hill. And then we
yeah,
told him that it was a prank. And then you
yeah.
must have seen his reaction. He was like, okay.
I mean, yeah, I think he couldn't. It took him a lot of time to come out of that shock. But then I think it all. But at the end of the day, it all became a great memory for all of us. I mean, we still talk about to this day. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you need folks who are sportive enough to take this, and you need moments like this. Otherwise, it's going to get boring. I miss that Amber. So Amber, like that's what I want to say. The one of the cons of progressing in your career is, at least for me, I don't do that anymore. I miss that terribly, right? That has been a huge part of my professional life, maybe in the first 3, 4, 5 years. Now I don't do it at all, and somewhere or the other, I don't know if it's I have forced it upon myself not to do it, or it's just that the role has changed. But that's the thing I miss the most. Your
Now the
group
team
setup.
dynamics are going to change in BCG as well.
Yeah, I hope, man. I
So
hope
that
that.
If this episode ever goes viral, it's going to be because of this. I mean, they're going equally famous for that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then
we
do
will.
the same prank again. He'll fall for it again.
Now you have told it. I think we are good. Thanks, Sai, for making the time. Thank you, Amba, so much for making the time as well. Had a great
Thanks, Amit.
conversation, and we will have multiple more such conversations over time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the last 30 minutes, man. I enjoyed it. All the best to both of you. Keep continuing. I wish all the best to both of you and also to data science part, Sarah. Thank you.